her family had came from the faith of preparing for the Lord of the Second Coming. They were part of Kim Sung-do's congregation. Kim Sung-do also said that mother was the baby of the daughter of the Lord, and told Taemonim that she was her nurse. I had discovered many amazing things in the interview. I found out that Kim Myung-hee's father, the second wife, had also attended Kim Sung-do, or Sonjugyo, which is the Holy Lord's Church, and mother and also her mother, Taemonim, was part of the congregation of the Holy Lord's Church. Choi Sung-gil and her father also was part of the Holy Lord's Church. In other words, the first and second and third wife all came from the Holy Lord's Church. And especially in mother's case, the three generations, her mother and even grandmother, were all attending and part of the Holy Lord's Church. I was able to discover this fact through the interviews with many of these people, and then I also had a chance to ask Father if this was true, and Father affirmed that it was correct. And on that foundation of the Holy Lord's Church, mother actually grew up in that congregation. Kim Sung-do actually told Taemonim that her daughter was the daughter of the Lord, and that Taemonim was her nurse. Taemonim herself was educated, understood her mission in this way, and instead of treating mother as her daughter, she actually raised her as if she was to become the daughter of the Lord. Taemonim was the one who had actually successfully completed that course of raising Eve. So Father also had really praised Taemonim for her devotion, and even during the Holy Wedding, Father also mentioned that. She was the one who had inherited the heart of the woman on 8 different stages. In other words, that of a daughter, a sister, a wife, a mother, a grandmother, queen, substantial God, and God's wife. These are the 8 stages of Eve, what Eve should go through. Mother herself went through these 8 stages and overcame the challenges on each stage and was victorious. This would, of course, again, I will talk about this in the second lecture of the Providential Lectures, which I will give tomorrow. The standard for choosing a true mother was about having absolute faith, absolute love, and absolute obedience. God created Adam, as I said in this morning. God created Adam, and Eve was created from Adam's rib. And it was Adam's responsibility to perfect Eve, but Eve instead made Adam fall and upsetting God's plan. Father, who came as the third Adam, the most important standard for him to qualify a person to become the true mother was, of course, not only in this foundation of being a descendant of the mainstream of faith, it was also about she had to have an absolute faith, absolute love, and absolute obedience, a standard of that before Father. At this time, there were many elite women who were expelled from Ewha University and also Yonsei University. They all had a certain level of faith, and many of them felt that maybe they were candidates to become true mother, or the position of true mother. Sargilcha, Mrs. Yu, had also thought that she might be chosen to become Father's wife at that time. In an interview, she told me that. But during the interviews with these women, there was one thing that Father also even among the many candidates that were there, Father asked each of them whether they can have absolute faith and absolute love and absolute obedience to Father, whether they can entrust themselves completely to Father and to really to entrust themselves completely to Father so that Father can perfect Eve through that. That was the most important standard. And then here again, Choi Sung-gil, Kim Myung-hee lives in Gyeonggi-do, Ansang. She also still attends church, our movement. And I also had a chance to have an interview her for 2 days at her house. She is a poet, and she is a very sensitive person. I found that she was a very sensitive person. According to Father, Choi Sung-il, if she had fulfilled her mission, then Father would have been able to complete the formation, growth, and perfection level. But because Choi Sung-il was unable to fulfill mission, therefore they had to be 3 people. And after my interviews with these women, they all of what they said was in accord to what Father's explanation. So, in any event, in April 11th, 1960, Father was married to True Mother in the Holy Wedding. And Father also distributed the holy salt right after the Holy Wedding ceremony. This was the first time that we began the tradition of using the holy salt. And most of the content for this speech is being dealt with the Providential Lecture. So now I would like to move on to the Providential Lectures, a different set of lectures. There are some places that are redundant, which we already covered.